Well, it's official, folks. We made it. I made it. Did you make it to the end, to day 14, to collage on the 5-minute challenge hosted by the Ugly Art Club? It's 5 minutes for 2 weeks. I cannot tell you. I was just talking to the other founders. Every time I do this, I get better at it. I find out more about myself, about my artistry, about the things I love, the processes that mean something to me, the parts I can't live without, and the parts I can live without, which I think is just as important because I struggle with wanting to do all the stuff all the time. And by limiting myself to 5 minutes, it reminds me that it's okay to not strive for every single bit or piece or type or what medium, etc. This is the culmination. And I think that this ends up being the perfect last piece because it's titled collage, or the prompt is collage. So I use this page to bring together all the bits and pieces that have been seen throughout the book so far, and still to this moment in time, they are individual pages. So stay tuned for what they turn into as they become a book. But I have this Gelli print, and this was one of the bane of my existence prints where I could not absolutely at all get image transfers to work, but I still had this lovely Payne's Gray piece. And so you've seen a tiny bit of Payne's Gray through the book, lots of pink, lots of gold, and lots of book text. So I'm bringing all those pieces together here at the end. I collaged some of that vintage ledger paper down. And in fact, I changed my choice of which piece I was putting down. I'm putting down some washi tape. I'm putting down some of that gorgeous vintage masking tape that, again, God only knows where I got it, but it's fabulous. I'm going to be on the lookout for it. Maybe I just need to throw a roll of masking tape outside. Do you think that's what happened? I don't know. It's just so aged and lovely. I am having a little bit of a hard time getting it on exactly where I want it, but that's okay. Sometimes it just takes a couple tries. And then I'm thinking about some of the other pieces that I'm going to be bringing in and what's going to work on this. I love also really taking a piece of tape and tearing it and then it not meeting in the middle. So like the masking tape on the top and the bottom. And it's just fine if the tears don't line up. Like, that's okay to me also. I'm trying things out. It never hurts to audition and see where things may go because something might strike that you hadn't thought of previously. And then, of course, I've got to bring in my pen and do some mark making. I reserve this most of the time for negative spaces. It's a personal style. It's something that I really love and enjoy. So I'm bringing that back, working that in. And it's looking so good. I'm kind of contemplating right now. I don't think it has enough pink. Like, it doesn't really necessarily quite fit in with some of the other pieces. But I really did also love this black, wet Stabilo kind of funky marks. So I'm giving myself the chance to add some of those and see if maybe that fits what's wrong or what's not quite feeling right. And it's really important, I think, to listen to your gut. And if it knows that something isn't quite right, then it isn't quite right. And that's okay. But I'm checking them out. And again, if you were here for the other videos, I definitely need to remind myself to make things, haphazard and uneven. So I have to work for it a little bit. But here's where I'm like, oh yeah, no, I definitely need some more pink. So this edge of the Gelli print right here, which is actually the edge of the Gelli plate, I decided I was going to pinken it up, and I'm just rubbing a really thin, minute layer of Amsterdam Acrylics Venetian Rose over that area. It was already kind of pink, but now it's like really pink. And I didn't wait for my Stabilo to dry, so I smeared it with my big fat finger, my big fat pinky. So I wiped it away, and then I came back in and put one of the two marks back. It looks like, I think, but it looks good. I like it. And, I'm not opposed. So that's always a good sign. Maybe that's what needed to happen. And I'm kind of contemplating things, and I do think that that addition of the pink was just spot on and perfect. That area was already pink, but this just made it pinker, made it more obvious that it's that same Venetian pink that's throughout the book. I love how much Payne's Gray is on this, a bit of book text, a bit of mark making. And that's it, folks. I'm going to add in my tab, and then now I have all these pages that are ready to be made into a book. Now here's something. It's the last day of the challenge. It's the last day that the doors to the Ugly Art Club are open. If you made it this far, let me just say, the Ugly Art Club is like no other art club. It's easy, it's hassle-free. You get at least three videos, potentially a fourth, usually a fourth. There's some kind of meeting. There's always a challenge where prizes can be won just by participating in the monthly theme. And it's also a safe place where you can post your artwork. So if you ever need tips or tricks, you have access to three professional artists, and we're there for you. So there were the close-ups. We are going to close this challenge. So it's open and free on Teachable right now to get these tabs, but we're going to close it. So make sure you go over and get the tabs if nothing else. Here are all 14 of my pieces together. Look at how lovely they are. I love the complementariness of them. I love how they each stand on their own. And I'm really glad that you joined me. I will see you guys in the club.